What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. Now, with the new leaks of One Piece, the new chapter for One Piece officially coming out, I think now is quite possibly the best time to talk about the biggest reveal that has come from these leaks. And that has to do with Shanks as a character. Now, if you don't want to be spoiled on what's going on in these leaks, turn away now. Do not watch any more of this video. This is going to be a very spoiler heavy video. So if you haven't seen the leaks or you're waiting for the official release, I recommend just coming back to this video at a later point, and then we can talk about this all together. So, what does this leak entail for Shanks? Well, Shanks has a twin. Shanks apparently has a twin brother or even just a clone. It's not really clear as to like who this version of Shanks is. Is it a twin? Is it a clone? What is it? We don't know. But when it comes to this reveal now, a lot of things with Shanks make a lot more sense when you think about it. Perfect example being when we have the whole Reverie chapters and you see Shanks pulling up to the elders with a cloak on. Everyone was saying how Shanks is a traitor and all that. Like, Shanks is a rat, as the agenda piece fans like to say. Shanks is a rat. Like, but we never really understood, because we never really understood why Shanks was doing this. Now we know that wasn't the actual Shanks. That was a different version of him, because everyone was like, why is he being such a snitch right now in the Reverie chapters? But the whole reason for that is because that was a different Shanks that looks like it was giving the elders intel. That was genius. Like, I never would have thought that that was the case, but when you look back on the series as a whole, a lot of it makes sense because you can pinpoint when it's Shanks and now when it's not Shanks. So, perfect example at the beginning of the story, obviously it's Shanks there when he loses his leg and essentially gives Luffy his straw hat. That's obviously Shanks. But there's different points in the story where you can pinpoint now and be like, that isn't Shanks. Perfect example when Shanks goes to intercept Kaido. Like, that might not have actually been Shanks at all at that point. That could have very well been a different version of him, because how was he able to get from Kaido back to the Marineford so quickly? Like, it wasn't possible. No, and we never really questioned how the legalities of that. No, we never really questioned that at all as to how that was feasible. Turns out it wasn't, because it probably wasn't even him. It was probably his twin who went to go talk to Kaido and intercept him. Like, the layers to this reveal are insane to me. Like, the fact that couldn't that's probably not even Shanks that went to go talk to Kaido. It was probably his twin. Actually, genius shit going on here, man. And then now, even like in the most recent stuff, we had Luffy and Loki talking, and you essentially had Loki calling Shanks a coward. But like, Shanks to us has never seemed like a coward or anything like that. So the fact now that he was probably talking to this different version of Shanks, the twin, this version of Shanks is probably a coward and a sniveling rat, like we were all calling our Shanks to be. Like, that version of Shanks is probably a rat and a coward, while our version of Shanks is the light. So, dude, like, the implications that this can have in the story is unreal. Because what if this twin version of Shanks goes to talk to Luffy? Does this potentially have the potential to take Luffy off the board? Because Luffy's whole thing was he would give Shanks his straw hat, and like, that would be part of his dream fulfilled. Was like being able to give Shanks his straw hat back when he was at his peak. Like, could that potentially be Luffy feeling like he's at the end of his journey, even though he hasn't found the One Piece yet? Like, There's so many possibilities that this reveal could have. And now, like, what if Luffy can potentially be manipulated by this version of Shanks? That probably wouldn't come to pass, but like there's so many like different dynamics now that can happen. A light version of Shanks on one side versus a darker version of Shanks, and like them colliding in a final war type aspect. But since they're brothers, like you could have a situation in the future where one of them could die and it spurs the other on to carry on in their memory. And that could have them switch on the elders or something. I don't know. There's so many things that could happen with this stuff now, man. The fact now that there's a potential twin of Shanks running around in the story, like it just creates so many different avenues that we can go down in the story. And now that we're gonna be potentially in another break when this chapter comes out officially, because we're talking about leaks, but like the fact that we're gonna have this break week coming up or this big break coming up, this is one hell of a cliffhanger, man. Like I can't think of a better cliffhanger than this. Leaving like going out on the year with this fire. Absolutely fire. I thought the Robin and Saul stuff was a good way to end the year. Nah, this is even better. And I can't wait to see what goes down next, man, because a potential Shanks versus his evil counterpart, that could be really cool. Imagine how that could go down in the manga, and especially the anime. Dog. The possibilities are endless as to what could happen next with this whole reveal. But like I definitely think though that this version of Shanks might go raid Elbath. I'm not too sure. That's kind of the vibe I was getting, that he might go raid Elbath with Luffy there, and that could spark a reunion. I'm not too sure though. If that happens, that's going to be crazy. Like Luffy meeting the wrong version of Shanks and Luffy having like a warped perception of Shanks after this, that could be really cool. I really hope Oda goes in that direction too, because we've all been wanting Luffy and Shanks to reunite. But if Luffy's not meeting his actual Shanks, then you have a reason to put them on the page. And then you can have like a whole like inner conflict for Luffy being like, is this what Shanks has become? Has Shanks become this version that I don't even recognize? I think that could be a really cool like inner turmoil for Luffy, because we haven't really had that for him in a while. So if you add something like that for him, that's just going to make Luffy an even more compelling character for me. And I, for one, hope that's what Oda does. Because now that you have all this to work with now, the possibilities are endless. And I can't wait to see what happens next. But I think that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think. How do you guys feel about a potential Shanks clone running around and possibly influencing the story in ways we don't even know? Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'm going to talk to you guys next time. Bye.